chair of several important committees, including PAC, and a distinguished economist in his own right, came to the Speaker's office and gave me a breakdown on how he's going to disburse CDF, and I allowed him for that. When we had our midterm retreat in Naivasha, we also invited the CS, and he graciously came and engaged all of you on this very important issue. Today, Honorable Minister, you are here, and I'll give the House 30 minutes to deal with this issue, to give a full, candid statement on the status of disbursement of these funds and the future conduct on how these funds will be disbursed to constituencies. These funds, members, are not your funds. They are funds of the people of Kenya. And when they go to the constituencies, they serve the people of Kenya. And this is one of the most revolutionary, devolved function that we have ever had in this country. We will therefore, and I want to encourage you members, hear the minister's statement in absolute silence. Once he finishes, I will allow the member who raised the point of order, the first bite, and then allow a few members to ask clarifications or questions. And once we finish and we are satisfied, we'll let the minister go back to his office. Minister, welcome, and you can now take the podium.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, together with the members of the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya, my former colleagues, let me first take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to thank you for indulging me and inviting me to come here and talk to a matter of national importance. And I want to agree with you, Mr. Speaker, that National Government Constituency Development Fund has been a revolutionary fund in this country. And I want to also associate myself that this government supports devolution and devolution of resources. Devolution not in the sense of just county governments, but devolution of resources. And CDF, there cannot be any other better fund that is well devolved than, yes, you can use different terminology, decentralized, devolved, but the fact is that money goes to the grassroots. And so I still remain committed to devolution of resources and support to the National Government Constituency Development Fund and the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, at the policy level, I want to reiterate that we have a strategy on how to release exchequer, especially on devolved resources. Mr. Speaker, being a former member of this parliament, and it is not long ago that I was here, and I've been here for 17 years, and appreciating the role that CDF plays in our economic development and a support to various social aspects of the society, including supporting education of our children, I voluntarily came to your office without any invitation on a date I can't remember in December to discuss with you the challenges of the release of funds to the national government.
It was on 5th December.
It was on 5th December. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And so when I came, we discussed, and I clearly took notes that we have not been able, or we were not able at that time to release constituency development funds to the constituencies as should be done. So I proposed a schedule on how the funds were going to be released. And so, Mr. Speaker, I just want to discuss with the members what has happened in terms of the release of these funds before I explain the challenges that probably we have encountered. First, Mr. Speaker, when I came, and this House will remember that there was carryover of CDF from the last financial year, money that was not disbursed, money that was appropriated to the National Government Constituency Development Fund, but was not disbursed. So for the 23-24 financial year, out of the total 57,931,500,000, only 44.4 billion was disbursed. That left us with a gap, a carryover of 13.531 billion. That was then added to the appropriation for 2024-2025 to give, which was 54,732,927,680. That gave us a figure of 68.233 billion for now, 24-25, to be paid or disbursed. Mr. Speaker, by the time I came to your office, out of this money, only an amount of 13.5 billion had been disbursed. So in the month of September, on 24th of September, we paid 5.5 billion. The following day, on 26th, 300 million was disbursed. That same September, we disbursed another 2 billion. Then in November, we disbursed 5.73 billion. So that cleared the entire carryover of 13.5 billion. Now, we sat down and I told you, Mr. Speaker, that entire 54 billion has not been disbursed, and we are already in December. We had only 7 months. So I committed myself that beginning December, we would be releasing 7 billion per month. Every month, 7 billion. To the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board. So this is what we did. On 13th December, after coming to your office, the National Treasury released 7 billion shillings. On 20th of February, we again released another 7 billion. Now, you will note that we did not release any money in January. And I will come back to the reasons. In the month of March, again, after releasing the money for February of 7 billion, again we defaulted in February. Now, in March, we defaulted in March. So, Mr. Speaker, in the month of April, and that is not long ago, that is actually today, yeah, that is today. What I may not have here is the time, but I have evidence that we released another 7 billion shillings. Now, Mr. Speaker, this amount of 7 billion is to the National Government Constituency Development Fund. But then, for the National Government Affirmative Action, let me just touch on it. The budget was initially 3.2 billion. That was reduced to 2.7 billion after the supplementary budget. We had already released 1.6 billion. Today, we released the balance of 1,104,499,000. So now we have zero balance for national government affirmative action. And one would ask why, I looked at the amount and it looked too little to split again. Now, let me come back to the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, the month of January, the month of February, the month of March is usually, those are very difficult months for us at the National Treasury and the economy of Kenya as a whole. I want to explain to my colleagues that these are the months. First, you must pay capitation to schools in the first term. And out of the total allocation which you gave for capitation to primary schools, JSS, and high school of 96 billion, 48 billion must be released in first term. And that we did in total. We released 48 billion. Now, this second term, we will have to release another 14 billion, and then third term, another 14 billion to complete, 24 billion, another 24 billion. The same month of January, Mr. Speaker, this is the time that you pay most of the loans, especially the loans which we took bilateral loan, we took from China to pay for SGR. This is the month that we paid on 16th of January, 10.6 billion for foreign payments. The same January 17th, we paid another 59 billion. I want to jump other small amounts and indicate the same January on 24th, we paid 3 billion. The same January on 21st, we paid 1.1 billion. So if you add the total amount that we paid for loans in January alone is 75 billion. You pay 75 billion and you pay salary of 80 billion. Our salary wage bill has moved from 75 billion, the way it was in December, to 80 billion per month in January. Why? One, we onboarded JSS teachers at enhanced salaries. Omboko Mlemba, Honorable, with his team, agitated for salary increment, which they deserve, and they got it. We also had to adjust the salary of our disciplined forces. We also had to adjust the salary of lecturers who are in the streets with 4.3 billion. Now, that has pushed our salary figures to 80. Now, 80 added to 75, that is already 150 billion. I will tell you, you have not released any money to counties, and you have not released any money to CDF, and you have not released any money for any operations. Now, that tells you that the commitment we have in January is that high. In February, again, the story is the same. And I will tell you that in the month of February, we had a T-bill redemption, treasury bond, not bill, redemption of 51 billion. And redemption is redemption. You pay. It's not rollover. The month of April today, we have on 7th paid a treasury bond of 90 billion, 90.99 billion, 100. So what am I saying in short? What I'm saying in short is that, honorable members, is not that National Treasury does not want to honor commitments that I make to this House. But sometimes you have to balance the needs that come before you. We all know that we had to struggle after the Gen Z's agitation. This economy was shut for almost 2 months. That affected revenue collection. But worse still is that external finances, we have not been able to receive external finances until now. Fortunately now, the doors are opening for external resources. Actually, when I gave this commitment in December, I was very sure that we were going to get external resources by February, March. Unfortunately, that has delayed. And let me just give you some examples. One, on IMF program, you know the 7th and 8th review delayed. 7th review was supposed to come in March. It didn't happen last year. May, it didn't happen. July, that didn't happen. September, it didn't happen. It happened in November, and that is the time we combined 7th and 8th review and got payment from IMF. After that, to prepare for the 9th review, it was not practical for us. So we mutually agreed to let go the 9th review and start another program. So the money that we were to get from IMF of 764 million US dollars, which is almost 100 billion shillings, that one is not coming. So we had to adjust. Now the World Bank disbursement of 600 million is coming in June. Why? Because you remember this House and the Senate delayed in a way, but we thank you for now finally passing the conflict of interest bill, which was a condition. World Bank could not give us money until that bill was passed. That bill has just been passed, and we thank you for it, but now it is unlocking. Today I was with the World Bank representative. It's unlocking 600 million to us. Another amount that has not come is the African Development Bank loan of 265 million US dollars. That, again, fortunately, is coming in a week's time. All the conditions precedent have been realized. So, and this year, financial year, I want to tell you here today and report that we have not borrowed made any commercial loan borrowing. We have not borrowed any money commercially. The money that we borrowed was to manage a liability. So it was like we used a Eurobond to pay off Eurobond, which is coming in 2027. And we did that because we want to be proactive. We don't want to work like we worked before, which put us in problems. Now we have paid Eurobond that is due in 2027 because we realized if we delayed it, it was going to cause shocks in our economy. So we have not borrowed any money. We have only borrowed money locally in the domestic market and within the framework, and that is why you can see the interest rates today. 1 year ago, the 91-day treasury bill was selling at 16%. Today, it is 8.5%. Because of being careful, borrowing, with caution, that we don't just go to the market. So let me come back to the issue of NG-CDF. Honorable members, we have 2 months that we have defaulted now. If you take, and by the way, Mr. Speaker, this I can table, so that I can demonstrate, because I think my credibility went down a bit. So I can hear a lot, but so this is evidence that we have transferred 7 billion. So this is my commitment. My commitment is that, and by the way, we also have other very pressing demands on Exchequer. One of them is also the transfers to counties. Counties also we have not paid February, March. I want to assume I didn't hear that. But then I want to give a commitment again, because you can see that we have the intention to make sure that there is money released to NG-CDF. I want to give a commitment that in the course of this April, we will give again another 7 billion. So that I am in this month, so that I cannot promise next week, because next week we are paying salaries. We must start paying salaries, but I will make sure that we release another 7 billion to the board, so that we only have 1 month in default or 1 month in arrears. Colleagues, I want to repeat again. If there is anything that under my watch as a minister is not done for National Government Constituency Development Fund, it is not intentional. It is because at times the pressure is too much. Sometimes you have to balance between paying the debts, which you must pay, because if you don't pay debts, by the way, there will be no economy. So we must pay our debts. We must release money to CDF. We must release money to education. We must release money for security. Sometimes we take security for granted when we boast of numbers of tourism rising. We don't know how much threat has been dealt with out there. So we must support our security. Let me conclude, Mr. Speaker, because I know there will be further questions, and ask that we have and plead that as leaders, people out there may not like us. They may say all sorts of things, but we are still their leaders. And therefore, I am just appealing that we are all privileged. We need to be sometimes a little bit cautious. I listened to one of us argue that this country is likely to be taken to pari, that we are likely to default in debt payment. That is irresponsible statement. It is irresponsible, it can cause panic, and it should not come from someone who has chaired Budget and Appropriations Committee. Let me tell you, yes, there were times when we had challenges, but where we are, we don't have a problem with debt sustainability. The numbers are there. The figures are there. Even the IMF has the figures. World Bank has figures. We have been rated out there. The problem we have is about liquidity. Loans were taken at a particular point of time. Most of them are maturing between now and 2032. That is why we have the pressure. After 2032, you go and look at our books and they're public. From 2034 to 2048, we don't have any loan to pay. There is no external loan to pay around that time, whether bilateral, whether commercial, multilateral. We don't have much loans. But between now and 2032, we must work together. This House has a responsibility. Treasury has a responsibility. Executive has a responsibility. We must work together to steady our economy. And that is why some of us were taken to the executive as experts to make sure that we steer the ship. So don't discourage. This process will continue. I am committed to it. There is no time we will default in our loan repayment. This country is strong economically. It is the strongest economy in the region. So let nobody scare people that Kenya is going to default. We may be struggling. But let me ask you, have we failed to pay salaries? No. Have we failed to pay capitation to schools? We paid in full. Are we not meeting our expenditures for security and other matters? Yes. Are we going to release the entire CDF for development of our infrastructure in schools and security and pay bursary? Yes. Are we going to pay money to our counties? Yes. And by the way, let me ask. I have been in this house with you, and I used to sit there. That is my corner. I hope you reserve it for me. I will come back there maybe one time. This is not the first time we have had a delay. In fact, if you look at last financial year, it was worse. The last financial year was worse. And I'm committing to you, you will not have problems. I know there is bursary issues. We have released the 7 billion. I want to try release another 7 billion before schools open end of this month, so that you sort out the bursary and make sure that the balance we don't carry over to 2025, 2026. That is what I'm working on. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I know I took longer than I should have taken, but now I can allow my colleagues, and I can take my water if you give me a bottle of water. Thank you very much.
Order, honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members. Honorable members, the document provided by the minister, which I find authentic, indicates that today, for NGAF, an amount of 1,104,499,800 was released to the State Department for Gender. That is the route through which that money is ordinarily paid. And an amount of 7 billion was released to the State Department for Economic Planning. That is the route through which CDF is paid on its way to the board. The minister has also told you, and we will hold him to it, that before the close of the month, we have only 12 days to go, or thereabouts. He will pay another 7 billion. I'll now give Jack Wamboka the first opportunity to ask any clarification.
Honorable Speaker, I want you to protect me from the Deputy Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I appreciate the Minister, one, for coming, and someone is distracting the Minister because the Minister should be listening to this. And first, two things, that we've been patient with the Minister with the things he has been saying. One, because he's a ranking member, former ranking member of this House. We would not have been tolerant, perhaps, if you didn't have those decorations with you. Two, I also must declare that the Minister is my very good personal friend, and we have many things we dream about together for future. Mr. Speaker, a lot of the things the Minister has said is what the Minister said in Naivasha. A lot of them. And Honorable Mbadi, we respect you. When you went to the Treasury as an expert, with Mbadinomics, we expected you, by the time you are giving commitment to this House, you are sure about the things you are saying. You have put our Speaker not in very good light. You are lucky that we also trust our Speaker and we love him so much, because you have been using him as a shield. It does not make sense, Honorable Mbadi, my good friend, to say you gave the Speaker a plan on how you are going to disburse these monies, then later on you are bringing in the issues of disbursements, of capitation. The Mbadi, I know, you should have foreseen that. You are an expert. By the time you are giving that commitment, Honorable Mbadi, those are things that would have been on your fingertips, Mheshimiwa Mbadi, with due respect. And before even I continue, what we are expecting from you today is 21 billion. The bare minimum and take home, as we speak, is 21 billion. All these other things you are saying, capitation, county money, it is your responsibility as government to send these monies. The year is coming to an end. Mheshimiwa Mbadi, please do that is needful to our people, and don't bring a lot of issues, Honorable Speaker. Lastly, Mheshimiwa Mbadi, a lot of college and university students, most of them missed exams because we did not facilitate their bursaries. They will be forced to defer a whole year. A whole year. So how are you going to restitute that? That these students have been deferred and they continue now to live the way they live. So, Honorable Speaker, our bare minimum. Don't talk of 2032, 2048, because loans will still be taken by those governments that are coming, we don't know. Because these are things now that we are tired of. We are speaking about now, and we have a lot of trust in you, Mheshimiwa Mbadi. I particularly know you and particularly know that you can deliver better.
Point
Honorable
made.
Speaker, on behalf of this House, our bare minimum is 21 billion.
Musa Sirma.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity you have given me. First and foremost is to thank you for bringing the CS Treasury here through your initiative and also the demand by members. Mr. Speaker, the amount of 7 billion translates into 23 million per constituency. And the balance which we had been given before, that is 14 billion, shows that every constituency has an average of 46 million. The average amount of bursary 60 to be given by the members at the 40% of what is in the Act, Mr. Speaker, 75. Comes between 70 million and 80 million.
Yes.
And yet, with these 7, we shall just be about 60. So, Mr. Speaker, we would have liked to release the children who are going to school when these bursaries have come up. So, Waziri, we need you to make up on that amount before even we move out of, by getting that 7 billion.
Honorable members, I'm giving you an opportunity to seek clarification or ask a question to the minister.
Yes.
Not to engage in debate.
I am giving information, Mr. Speaker, as it is, because I have to translate the figures which we have been given by Waziri into actuals and what it means to the members of parliament and also the public outside. Mr. Speaker, we would like to ask the minister to be able, can he be able to sort out this bursary issue first before we even go for any development, so that the members are able to walk free in their constituencies and be able to do development for the Kenyans there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwanza nimpongeze waziri kwa kuweza kuja katika bunge hili kutupa uwazi wa mambo ya maendeleo mashinani. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nataka nikuulize waziri, pesa ya NGAF 3 billion ni pesa kidogo sana. Sasa hata kwa udogo wake, uchache wake, sisi tulikuwa tumeambiwa na rais kuwa atakuja kutuongezea. Tunatamaushwa sana, kwa nini umepunguza milioni 500? Utupe sababu kwa nini umepunguza, zimeenda kwa nani, na kwa nini umeangalia NGAF peke yake wala si pesa zingine. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Yes, Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the Honorable Mbadi for the very good and elaborate response. And Mr. Speaker, we know as a country we are going through a serious economic turbulence. And Mr. Speaker, budgets are projections. And sometimes, based on what we collect is what we have as a country to spend. I just want to ask the Minister, the Honorable Mbadi, if you can make it probably tomorrow or early next week, you can release the next 7 billion, because before we go for a recess, so that as we go for a recess, we could disperse out the bursaries and we release the students to go back to school. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mwango.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me a chance to weigh in on this issue. And for me, I want to seek clarity from the CS, Mr. Mbadi, on the exact date that we are going to put this money in our accounts, because for planning purposes, we need to get clear dates and we need your commitment. And then there was a question that was asked on further commitment on how these funds will always be dispersed to our constituencies. Thank you.
Mwango. Maklap.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to get clarification from the Minister. One, our constituency that has 3 wards, how much will it be when you break down the 7 billion, 4 wards, 5 wards, 6 and 7 wards? Because, Mr. Speaker, we need to know the exact breakdown of that money that will be able to justify. Two, Mr. Speaker, from the analysis of the Minister, Mr. Speaker, from the analysis of the Minister, he has said in January, February, there is a lot of loans. Why don't we exhaust all the money of CDF between the first quarter of the financial year so that we can't go to those months where there is issues of loans in the country, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, God willing, remain the Minister of Finance, but release all the money within the first quarter of the financial year so that children of Kenya cannot lynch members of parliament for non-release of funds, especially for bursaries, Mr. Speaker. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I can also confirm, I sit in Committee of Debt, that the World Bank report, the IMF and the World Bank report scored Kenya out of 34 conditions, 22 conditions Kenyan government was able to succeed, translating to 64.5%. It means we are in good books. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the minister should be able to finance NG-CDF once and for all, and we are done.
Kisairo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As one member said, actually, we listened to the Honorable CS, courtesy of him having been our colleague, and we accorded him that respect. Honorable Speaker, in February, the CS was categorical that he was going to send 2 tranches of 7 billion in the month of February, and from that month, it was be 7 billion monthly up to the time he completes sending the amount for this financial year. Honorable Speaker, the CS has now said in February he sent 7 billion. Today, he has sent another 7 billion, which has not reached the board, so we cannot count it. And he's saying, after sending another 7 billion at the end of this month, that he will be in default or he'll be behind by 1 month. What happened, or which calculation is he using? Because if he could have sent twice in February, once in March, which he only did once, skipped the second one, skipped March, we are in April, how can he be 1 month behind at the end of this month? He will be 3 months behind. CS, what we want is 21 billion before the end of this month, if not today, and the rest to be cleared by the end of next month. Otherwise, this is just going to be in circles. This is another promise, and we are not going to achieve anything. It is the members of parliament who are being hogwashed out there in the constituencies. Honorable Speaker, let the CS give us a clear roadmap. What he has given us is speculation. Thank you.
Mary Masse.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, I want to appreciate the CS for at least doing something today. But, Honorable CS, you have said that the passing of the bills has unlocked external financing or funding. So in another week or 2, you will have enough resources. I want to propose that you clear with CDF. Honorable Speaker, our problem is not only bursaries. In my constituency and in many of these members' constituencies, we still have our students, the grade 9s, learning under trees. I do not have enough classrooms. So we need the money to be able to construct those classrooms and all the other development projects.
Thank you.
Let us have the money before the end of this financial year, for this financial year. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Farah Maalim.
Mr. Speaker, I do understand that collections of revenue in the country itself is a very tricky thing. And any Minister for Finance will always be on a serious balancing act. There are so many competing priorities that essentially everybody is asking for something, but the Minister is in a very difficult situation. Mr. Minister, can you give us an undertaking that you will have at least before the end of next week another 7 billion in our account, and progressively see how you can give us an undertaking on the rest also? And when you have a situation when there is no sufficient revenue collection, because this is the revenue collections in the country, we understand that we had a finance bill that was shut down. That was the biggest mistake this country made. And then the revenue generation itself is not an easy thing. So, Mr. Speaker, can you give us some kind of an undertaking that by next week, before the end of next week, we have at least another 7 billion in our accounts, and then how you're going to disburse the rest?
The member next to Emase, who is that? Kirima.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My good question to the Cabinet Secretary is this. Is the Minister aware that other than CDF, there is no other money which we get for development in our sub-counties or constituencies, and then development which can be seen on the ground is only through CDF money, of which we are lucky that the Minister concerned is a former member and he has used CDF in his constituency. The chief executive of this country was a member of this house and he has used CDF before. Is the minister keen to release this money before the end of financial year so that we cannot have carried debts beyond this year? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Bensouda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You've kept your word by ensuring that CS National Treasury is with us today. Question number 1. We would like the CS to also give us a plan of releasing GAF the same way he has committed the plan of releasing NG-CDF, which is 7 billion per month. Taking into consideration that GAF is just 3.5 billion, which has been reduced, we want to request that this money, at the beginning of every financial year, it is released as a lump sum. Question number 2. The current CS nominee for gender responded in one of our question items that the increased femicide in this country is because the girls are suffering dependency on finance. Could the CS National Treasury come clear now that the students are going to go back to school where the sanitary towels money financing 500 million is, so that we don't have an extended femicide and killing of our girls? It is urgent like yesterday. Number 3, Speaker.
That is sufficient.
Number 3, only 1 second. The 1 billion which were given in last financial year was a presidential directive, and he promised to deliver his agenda on the women. And we are expecting in the next financial cycle an additional of 1 billion. We would like our money not to be touched, not even a shilling. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Women Rep Laikipia. Women Rep Laikipia.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I appreciate my very, very able members, Honorable Bensouda and Honorable Zamzam from Mombasa. Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving GAF the highlight that it requires today. Because, Honorable Speaker, this is a fund that in the last 1 year took care of 50,000 children. It has taken care of more than 200,000 groups. It has supported so many of the vulnerable in our community, Honorable Speaker. I want to support what my members asked, and it starts with the first question in regard to the deduction. As much as the deduction was done in this Honorable House, Speaker, it is my plea to the Cabinet Secretary that, going by the President's directive, can we get our money back? because I believe as much as we give value to infrastructure, we need to give more value to our women, our youth, our persons with disability. They are more important than any of those other functions that we are giving precedence to. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, we also need the gender-based violence money released, which was 100 million that was given by the President as a directive. Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, our children have not stopped having their monthly periods, yet the sanitary towels money has not been released. To the Cabinet Secretary, kindly give us a date on when the money is going to be released, because our girl children are in dire need in their schools. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Kenan.
Mr. Speaker, today is a great day. The person presiding over this chamber is an astute and an all-round politician. The person in the name of the CS is an astute politician right now wearing another hat as a member of the executive. The audience here are all politicians. But luckily, Mr. Speaker, there must be a time when we own up. First, I must admit, there is nowhere in the world where there is enough money. There is no government that has enough resources. Every government, even the mighty, still struggles with resource mobilization. But what the difference is how they prioritize, how they plan, and how they execute and properly manage the resources that they collect. Mr. Speaker, as among the members of parliament, having been around here, I have been reluctant to participate in the launching of my bursary fund. Simply because we must be practical, we must be truthful, and we must tell our constituents what is there. We appreciate you, Waziri, because the alternative will have been to print fake money. The alternative will have been to mint fake money that the economy cannot accommodate. And therefore, we're in a stage where we must live with what we have. But that being the case, you understand, like regions where we come from, where the level of poverty is so high, where many students who are going to school rely on CDF. We are going now to April, May, yet we are not in a position to clearly say this is the date when we are going to pay bursary. I want to beseech you to revise that program. You have released 7 billion today, and I pray that those mandarins in Treasury and CDF are not misleading you, because at times they mislead their political head. Can you release, because members, you know the timing, we have been around here.
Go on.
The check, the letter is dated today, and I'm a realist. I hope that letter was not meant to give you a PR face before you appear here, because the person we are going to hold accountable is none other than the Honorable Mbadi. Meaning, therefore, from tomorrow, we must see this money in the CDF accounts. Now, my question is this, Honorable Speaker, and now that all of us here are politicians, can the minister revise that program in addition to the 7 billion you have released today, release another 7 billion today, so that at least we can plan for our bursaries as we wait for the other 7 billion before the end of the month? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, let's have the minister respond to those first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to try as much as possible to run over the questions very fast without losing the impact of it. Now, using the question from Honorable Wamboka, thank you, Honorable Wamboka. First, I want to confirm that I'm not using Speaker as a shield. I came to the Speaker first as someone I respect, having been in this House as a member of Parliament when he's the Speaker, and we even started our engagement earlier than before he even became a Speaker. He's someone I respect, and I don't want to put him in any bad light at all. I don't want to demean the seat of the Speaker. That is why I made the commitment, and I am confirming here that it is my office that made that commitment. In terms of minimum of 21 billion, I hear you, Honorable Wamboka, but again, I want to repeat that there is a lot of pressure on our exchequer. Unless we receive these external finances, and I don't want to commit here with the resources that have not come. Because again, you are the same one who has asked me that why didn't I foresee Why didn't I plan with some of these failures? And therefore now I'm planning by saying that I don't want to commit with money that has not come. The moment I get that money, Honorable Wamboka, there is, through the Speaker, there is no reason why I cannot even do much more than you have not asked for. Secondly, I think now the other question is by Honorable Musa Sirman. I want to agree, Chairman, that bursary issue is of serious concern and that you probably need much more. In fact, we shared with you and you told me that at least we should make available 14 billion, at least, for you to be able, for members to be able, for CDF committees to be able to cater for bursary for our school-going children. Let me say this. I want to persuade members to allow me, not for next week, because next week I know the kind of commitments we have, but the following week, latest by 29th, that we make another disbursement of 7 billion. And I want to tie that to respond to Honorable Kainan on the question that you raised, whether the mandarins would mislead me. The advantage you have is that the CS at the National Treasury is an accountant and is an auditor. And therefore, I cannot be misled. It's not possible. What I have brought to you is not a letter. This is a transfer. This is an IFMIS spreadsheet that has been given to me. I did not want to come and give you a letter. I wanted to table before this House evidence that we have made the transfer. And we will make another transfer. What you can do, honorable members, you can tell your committees to go ahead and vet the students if you have not vetted them, even make provision. You know how 14 billion can be split. There is already 7 billion. The other 7 billion, I will make sure that we try as much as we can to release it by 29. But next week will be too much pressure on our part. We may not be able to manage next week. Now, on the question by Zamzang, reducing the budget of NGAF to 2.7. Honorable Zamzang, you may not be aware of this. This NGAF money is my creation. It's not even a creation of women MPs. It is John Mbadi standing before you here today. Women MPs approached me, and I took them to the minister then, the CS Rotich, who was my friend for many years. And I convinced Rotich, because the budget committee had rejected any creation of money for women representatives. And we persuaded Rotich. We were with Governor Wanga today. We were with Kajuju, the former MP, and Nyokabi. 4 of us. That is how this money came about. So I support it. We allocated 3.2, not 3.5, according to the records I have. But it was reduced. It was not National Treasury, it is this House. The moment this House reduces a budget, there is no power I have under the sun. In fact, the Constitution is very clear. No one, not even the President, has the power to appropriate money. Money is appropriated not even by any other house. It is the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya. Kindly talk to your friends, beginning with those who sit in the Budget Committee, to protect any money that is allocated to NGAF, so that you don't have this. This money is very little. So if your colleagues here, through Honorable Atandi, who is now the new chair, can protect that money, I will disburse. Mine is to bring proposals, budget estimates, you approve. Once it is approved and appropriated, then the other job I have is to disburse. I think I have already addressed the question that Honorable Kangogo Bowen asked about releasing the money by next week. Honorable members, I want to beseech you not to make me commit to something that, again, I will appear before you here and you hold me to. Kindly hold me to my commitment for the last week of April. Honorable Mwango, when will we put money to the account? I think I've again addressed that. Honorable Makelap, breakdown of the money, how it goes to 3 wards, up to 7 wards. That one, the formula is there. And actually, I think you can walk to the chairman of the CDF committee, Honorable Sirma, would be able to share with you. Why not pay all the NG-CDF money by the first quarter? In fact, it is a very thought-provoking idea, which I've already thought about. Because we have a very constrained period between January and May. That period is usually very bad in terms of exchequer releases. I am thinking of trying to do as much as we possibly can between July and October. And that we will do in the next financial year. How I wish the pressure that is being applied to me today was applied in the last financial year. Because the pressure was not applied, carryover of 13 billion came to me. Now, if you added that 13 to what I've disbursed, Mr. Speaker, of 21, we would be at 44 billion. We would be almost nearing 70% of the NG-CDF. And all that, the money that was supposed to be disbursed in the last financial year, I have disbursed it now. I'm not getting any credit for it. But let's put pressure on me so that the next financial year we don't have the same story. Honorable Osero, 21 billion, I think, is a repetition. Honorable Mase, you have asked about external finances. Yes, it is true that now it is coming out clear that we are unlocking the external finances. There were some conditions precedent which we have met. But again, I want to I want to hesitate from making a commitment with money that has not come. If that money comes, I will do more than I've promised. Because I want to make sure that by end of this financial year, we clear all the allocation, the 68 billion for the CDF. That we can only be able to do if, when we get money, then we make sure that we enhance the allocation. On undertaking of 7 billion by end of next week, again, Honorable Farah Malim, I think I've addressed that. Honorable Kirima, am I aware that there is the only development in the constituencies is through NG-CDF? I am a Kenyan. I work in these villages. I know what is happening. But we also hope that counties use their monies prudently. Because actually that was a sense of devolution. And we cannot go back on devolution. It is there in the Constitution. We gave it to ourselves. I don't want to use such strong words, but I want to say better prudent use of government resources. Instead of getting a lot of cash touched in people's houses, how I wish that we could see better roads, more water provision, health facilities in most of our villages, because that is what Kenyans called for. On the issue of plan of releasing GAF, you know now we don't have a plan for 2024-25 because we have zero balance.
Yes.
So I wouldn't have a plan to release zero balance. But going forward, the money is not so much. At least you should be guaranteed that if it remains at that level of about 3 billion or so, we will be releasing it in 2 tranches. So that we don't again spread it too thin. We can't have monthly disbursement for 3 billion. Honestly, it would not make sense. On the issue of sanitary pads, I think this is a policy decision that women representatives can discuss with the line ministry and come to some solution. It is not hard. You can just invite the cabinet secretary, the principal secretary, and you agree. I don't even know and understand why there should be issues around this. To me, it is a matter that can be resolved very quickly, and because what those children need are sanitary pads. Quality sanitary pads, both at reasonable prices. Presidential directive of 1 billion, I want to say again, we will try our best, bring the estimates here, Parliament will appropriate, whatever Parliament appropriates or National Assembly appropriates is what we will give. If they appropriate 1 shilling, I will give 1 shilling. I will disburse 1 shilling. If they appropriate 10 billion, that's what we will appropriate. Again, the MP for Laikipia, can women reps get through NGAF, really not women reps? Let me say, NGAF gets its money back. It is this House to decide. I may not decide this. But going forward, I think I want to beseech honorable members, let us try to protect whatever location we have given to this fund, because it is too little. On gender-based violence cash, the money is there. We removed it from the gender ministry. Now it is with the parliament, under the parliamentary vote. I think the regulations that should be a way through which that will be disbursed. And I know parliament is very careful in this, but the money is under parliamentary vote. Again, there is a question on sanitary pads. I don't want to repeat that again. Finally, the Honorable Kainan asked about prioritization. Actually, Honorable Kainan, I think my strength is in cash flow management. And I try so hard and so much to balance. That is why even when you hear you will not hear that we cannot pay salaries. You will not hear that we have not released capitation. People will just complain, but before the term ends, we have released every money because there is a program. CDF, I guarantee you, there is a program. We will make sure that the entire amount is disbursed. Challenges notwithstanding. The same with county government funds. Development budgets, the exchequer request for development funds, the only outstanding exchequer request is 57 billion. And 54.3 billion. And we have a plan on how to release that money. So in terms of prioritization, we are up to it, we are working on it, and we'll make sure that we implement the budget as you appropriated it. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I had given 30 minutes to this. We have done 1 hour. We have Minister Duale of Health waiting behind here to deal with issues and challenges of SHA. And we have many questions lined up. I want to encourage you, as honorable members, that the minister has responded to our call. He has spoken to us candidly. And remember, as we push, the others pushing. As your speaker, I'll ensure that through our administration in Parliament, Minister, every single word you have said to the House will be fulfilled. And I want to encourage you also, as you have said, that you'll send 7 billion on or before 29th, but if it's earlier, the better, if things work well. For affirmative action funds for our lady women, MPs, it is this House that reduced your money. And in the Committee of Budget, there are women. Why they didn't resist or call for help is a story for another day. But we will encourage Atandi, because the cream removed from that fund is very small. I will encourage you to put it back in the next cycle so that the women MPs can at least start from where they were as we look to the economy improving and giving them some more. I say this because I've been in this House with you, and I know how prudently resources through constituencies are managed, as opposed to other management centers that you know. So let me encourage us that the little you have got is better than nothing, but we encourage the minister to do much more. And going to the future, Minister, as you have committed yourself, you'll try to avoid the jam of January, February, March, and deal with the issues at the time where you have better latitude to ensure that what CDF does continues to do. And members, remember this, and you have gone to court to argue, and I agree with you, that this is not your money. This is money of the people of Kenya that you represent. And that this money is managed through committees that are independent of you. I don't want anybody to pick the Hansard and go to court to pretend that MPs have now said they control CDF, because that is how your detractors have been fighting it. This money comes to your constituency, this money is run by committees, and this money benefits the people you represent. You only come back to oversight that money. That's why we have reports that come here. So let's leave it here. We thank Jack Wamboka for bringing the issue and the enthusiasm that you have all demonstrated in bringing out the salient issues that are pressing Kenyans. And Honorable Mbadi, you know you have been here, you have managed to see a constituency, and you know what CDF has done and can do. I was here before CDF, I was here during CDF, I will live here when CDF is even stronger. So let's ensure that CDF remains the centerpiece of our development activities in the constituencies. So we release you to go back to your ministry, and Majority Leader bring in the Honorable Farah Maalim. Honorable Carolo Monde, I know you have a question that is unrelated to CDF. And yes, I know you have an issue you wanted to ask the Honorable Mbadi unrelated to CDF. I would rather we don't now, so that we bring in Duale. We will ask the Majority Leader to arrange and have the minister back here to answer other questions other than CDF in the shortest time to come. In the meantime, you can file your question. I will have it tabled and we'll send it to the minister to deal with it even without coming here. Minister, you can now leave. Can you call bring in the Minister for Health? Honorable members, take your seats.